Hello everyone, look who bloomed. This is my beautiful Vanda Tayani cerise, and this spike has 6 blooms and 2 more buds that are about to open up. So this spike is going to have 8 gorgeous, shocking pink blooms on it. This is absolutely a showstopper, and I could not wait to share this with you. What a beautiful bloom on this orchid. And here's the spike on my Vanda Bacara Blue. It is still growing and the buds are forming, so I can't wait to share this one with you when it blooms out. This is a gorgeous Vanda as well. And you all know my beautiful Vanda, Robert's Delight Garnet Beauty, with the perfect foliage and the roots that just go on for days and days and days. And I have a wonderful announcement to make. I found a spike. This is the first spike I've had on this plant since it bloomed for me Mother's Day, year before last. I have been doing the daily warm water soaks to try to coax this one into blooming, and it worked. So I am so happy to share this one with you all today. So they are soaking in fertilizer today, and I thought I would go over my fertilizer recipe with you all, as well as how I'm watering them. This winter, my heating system is different than what I used last year, and my heating system dries out the air more than it did last year. So I've got a humidifier back here, but still the air is drier. So I'm having to water them more often than I did last winter. What I'm doing is I'm doing the fertilizer soak today, and they will soak in this for 2 days, about 48 hours. And then I'm going to drain this from the glass vases. And then every day to every other day, I take them back to my sink and I rinse off all the roots really well. With warm water, and I let them set in warm water for about an hour, especially if the air is very cold and my heating system has been turning on a lot. It's been about 45 degrees today, so I can tell the humidity is higher than it has been when it was, so cold and snowy last week. So what I do is I just watch my roots. When they start turning silver, that's when I know they need to be watered. Also, if you'll watch your lower leaves, if they start looking a little bit furrowed, then you know they need to be watered. So humidity and water, your watering schedule, go hand in hand. So let me go ahead and give you my fertilizer recipe for today. Okay, so this is what I used today to fertilize them. I use my CalMag first at about 20 drops per gallon. I use Epsom salts, 1/16 of a teaspoon. If they are spiking, like 3 of mine are right now, I'll use 1/8 of a teaspoon. They go through a lot of magnesium when they're spiking and blooming. Or you can use 1/8 of a teaspoon of Epsom garden lime. I just make sure that I give them a really good calcium and magnesium source. I use 1/3 of a teaspoon of the Better Grow Orchid Plus and about 25 drops of seaweed extract. That is really important because that is your potassium source, and it helps keep your plant hydrated. I mix that up per gallon, and that is about 365 to 450 parts per million. That seems really high, but for Vandas, they absolutely have to have this much fertilizer to be able to grow and bloom like they like to. And I made a little sticky note to remind myself to tell you they soak 2 days or 48 hours every week in this fertilizer solution. And this is my Vanda Bacara Blue, and as you can see, the spike is on the back of this plant. And I want to share with you a mistake that I made this time last year. That's the reason why I'm using the amount of fertilizer that I'm using. last year I decreased the amount of fertilizer I was giving them. And I had 3 spikes on this plant in 3 months. It just bloomed so beautifully. But I wasn't fertilizing it enough. So what happened was I lost 3 leaves in the middle of the plant. You can see this is where the old spikes were, and I lost 3 leaves just due to the fact that I wasn't fertilizing them enough. So let me make that mistake for you and just tell you they really do need a lot of fertilizer, especially mine need that amount of fertilizer in the wintertime because they're all spiking. So they really need all those nutrients. And here is my beautiful Sensei Blue. It is not in spike right now, but I'm expecting it to spike any day now. And this is the plant that I shared with you back in May of last year. It had a pretty severe magnesium and nitrogen deficiency. And I have a video where I showed you how I pulled it out of that magnesium and nitrogen deficiency. It is doing really, really well. And I just learned, these are monopodial plants. They don't have reserves like dendrobiums and cattleyas do. Dendrobiums have canes and the cattleyas have those pseudobulbs. These don't have that kind of thing. They only have this vast root system and all these leaves. And I found that if I don't fertilize them well and often, that they will reabsorb those leaves if they're not getting fertilized well enough and often enough. But as you see, this plant now is just doing beautifully. It has grown so well, and the roots just go on for days. The roots on this plant are just gorgeous. So I'm going to place a link in the description box to that video about what it did look like. The bottom of this plant was just yellow, and you can see how much greener it is, how much healthier it is now. But I will provide a link for that for you. Okay, so I've come full circle and wanted to leave you with these beautiful blooms. And I hope you all are just having a fabulous day. Be highly favored, deeply loved, and greatly blessed. And we'll talk to you all next time.